This guide has been inspected and improved by Luminous.
Hey guys, this is Sunsfan and welcome to the official Dota Cinema Guide to Brewmaster. If you aren't familiar with this hero, you may want to watch the introduction we did for him at the corresponding link. Brewmaster is a strength utility hero who can potentially be used as an initiator, a tank, or a carry depending on what the team needs. Because of his skill set, he is one of the toughest heroes to kill. Skill build. Leveling Brewmaster is pretty standard up until a certain point. That point would be level 7. You'll max Thunderclap by that point, as it's your main nuke and source of damage. At levels 2 and 4 you'll get stats because Brewmaster has some major mana issues at this point of the game. Leveling Primal Split at 6, 11, and 16 is a must, since Brewmaster relies on his ultimate quite a bit. After level 7, you have some choices to make, all of which are dependent on who you're facing. A general way to go is to level Drunken Brawler right away. This will give you a little bit of extra DPS output, as well as some general survivability against any hard hitters. For this build, you'll obviously level Drunken Haze last, but there's still an option to get one level of it a bit earlier. Now for the second build, it's essentially the same as the previous, except you max Drunken Haze second. The time you would use this build is for when there are huge DPS machines such as Lycan and Ursa on the playing field. The slow from this is certainly useful, but the mischance is really where it's at. If they don't have a way to take off this debuff, physical DPS heroes are totally screwed in fights. And you can think of it this way as well. Drunken Brawler benefits only you, while Drunken Haze will benefit the entire team. But generally speaking, the first build is far more common because usually you won't be taking a ton of physical DPS until mid-game anyway. Item build. Starting for Brewmaster, get your basic health and mana regeneration coupled with Iron Branches, which you can turn into a magic wand at your earliest convenience. Boots for Brewmaster are phase, because without extra help, it can be tough to land a proper Thunderclap on enemies. If you're farming particularly well, then Boots of Travel could be considered as well. Really, the core build for Brewmaster would include a Blink Dagger and Aghanims, but before you get to that point, it's usually a good idea to get a Drum of Endurance. The extra stats along with the helpful aura will benefit your entire team, which includes your cuddly spirits. After drums, some players like to get a point booster and then get blink, but that's really just player preference. But yes, eventually you want to finish your blink for initiation purposes, and then create an Aghanim Scepter since it makes your spirits so very strong. After these pickups, every other item is considered luxury. An Assault Cuirass would be a great pickup based on the fact that it'll make you tankier, also allow you to hit harder and faster, that's what she said, as well as give you an awesome aura that will work as long as the Earth Spirit's alive. A Heart could also be looked at as it gives you a great deal of tankability as well. And a cool note about the Heart, and well, any regen for that matter, let's say you have a Heart and are relatively low on HP. If you use your ultimate, you'll regen for 2% max HP a second while your ultimate is active, even if the spirits take damage. Gameplay. During the early game, your Thunderclap is quite powerful. It deals a nice amount of damage and slows for an incredible 4.25 seconds at all levels. This, in combination with another slow or stun, could make for a pretty easy lane overall. And once you farm your phase boots, effective initiations at that stage of the game will be very easy to pull off. But generally speaking, even when you get into the mid-game, using your Thunderclap to farm is a pretty bad idea. Even if you have some items, you have to realize that none of them provide any substantial mana regeneration. So unless you go a radically different build, then use your skills only on heroes. But the real fun starts when you get your Blink Dagger. You can be the main initiation in a lot of cases because of your innate ability to survive. Your goal should be to blink in on any unsuspecting foes and use your Thunderclap immediately. What you do after this is completely dependent on both who you're going up against and how the game is going in general. If you feel you can survive in fights pretty easily, then you should use your Drunken Haze on the hardest hitter and start whacking away. But after saying this, good usage of your ultimate is really important. The 3 spirits can be used in both a defensive and offensive fashion. Some people prefer to use the ultimate when you're starting to get low, allowing you more time on the field overall. Others like to pop it right after you've initiated. Again, you'll have to gauge the flow of the game and decide which way to play will be most effective. If you're somebody that's afraid of microing units, then I have some good news. You don't necessarily have to be good at micro to be effective. It obviously helps, but it doesn't mean it's necessary, especially in pub play. Just know that the Earth Spirit is your #1 spirit. His stun comes off cooldown quite often, and you should take advantage of this every single time. The fact that he's magic immune and has the highest HP of all 3 spirits means he's extremely difficult to kill. If the ultimate runs out and he's still alive, he'll be the spirit you spawn back into. The Storm Spirit has the most spells to use. Dispel Magic does minimal damage to summon units, but can definitely come in handy in some special circumstances. The real benefit of this skill though is Purge. Imagine taking off an important buff the enemy has, making it that much easier for you to take down. Windwalk is also a helpful spell in the fact that if you use it offensively, you'll deal 100 bonus damage. But of course, more commonly than not, you'll use it to run away if your Earth Spirits died, since this is the second priority for you to spawn in. The Cyclone is probably the most useful of his abilities and should be your main concern. Having an important hero out of a fight for 6 seconds is so good that I doubt I even need to explain it, so I won't. The Fire Spirit deals the most damage when taking his Immolation into account, and runs at the max 522 move speed. If you don't like microing, then you're going to love this guy. All you have to do is right-click someone with him, and he'll just follow them around dealing a ton of damage. If you want to challenge yourself, then try blocking enemies, since very few heroes can deal with that kind of speed. In conclusion, when using your ultimate, just keep in mind that even though auras work, you won't be able to click on items or use your skills. Drunken Haze is easy to forget, but as mentioned numerous times, it counters right-clickers to a high degree, so use it before ulting if possible. Friends and foes. Heroes that Brewmaster loves to play with are actually pretty easy to come by, as all he really needs is someone to help him use an effective Thunderclap, which would basically mean any easy to hit stun or slow, which of course would include the usual suspects of Venomancer, Lion, Shadow Shaman, and just to step outside the box a little, Bane. Heroes that counter Brewmaster are those that can prevent him from using his all-powerful ultimate. Heroes with long disables would include Lion and Shadow Shaman. Heroes with mana drain are Anti-Mage or any potential Diffusal wearer. And finally, heroes with silence abilities, some of which include Silencer, Bloodseeker, and any potential pickup of Orchid Malevolence. Thanks for watching, guys, and please remember to subscribe to our YouTube. Also, a big thanks to Flawless and Luminous who helped create this guide. You can check them out at their YouTube channels, which are linked in the video description. Also be sure to check out our website at dotacinema.com. My name is Sunsfan, and we love you guys.